This past week, I flew to Washington, D.C., and it was for a conference called FinCon, which, if you're not familiar with it, they title it Where Money and Media Meet. It was unreal. I got to meet so many YouTubers and vloggers, bloggers, freelance writers. It was super cool. I got to meet up with some of like the people that I've watched on YouTube for so long. Like I got to meet JJ Buckner. I got to meet Kelly from Freedom in a Budget, Dennis from True Financials, Sean Lay. I got to meet some of like the really big guys like Graham Stephan, meet Kevin, Nate O'Brien, Marco with Whiteboard Finance. Like it was just a constant stream of meeting all these people, and it was so good to meet them in person and talk to them. I tell you all of that just because it's kind of like a newfound motivation for me to go out, create more content, better content, and really just put more work into these videos and help you guys master your money. Now, that has nothing to do anything with what we're talking about today, but I highly encourage you next year, if you have time and you really want to grow your business, FinCon is an awesome conference to go and meet up with people. But like I said, we're not talking about any of that today. Instead, we're actually talking about how you can pay off your debt when you don't make a lot of money. I get it. You're fed up, you're tired, you're exhausted. It's super hard to pay off debt because you just don't have enough money to pay off your debt and keep up with the rest of the bills. But today we're talking about how you can finally pay off your debt once and for all. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Bryce with Sane Sense, where we talk about everything from personal finance to real estate investing. Do all the things down below. Be sure to give me a thumbs up if you could. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's get right into it. No matter how hard it may seem, it really is possible to get out of debt if you don't make a lot of money. And you don't even have to go to drastic measures like selling a house or selling a car or selling a kidney. Unfortunately, the first step to really figuring out any debt solution is laying it all out and figuring out how much you owe. One of the most important things to paying off debt is knowing which debt to tackle first, and if you're not sure where you stand with all these different creditors, then how are you supposed to begin? I personally like to use Excel just because I'm a big nerd and I like to type everything into a spreadsheet. But if that's not for you, you can definitely use a pen and paper as well and just write everything out by hand, and that's totally fine. There are also some really great online tools that are totally free. Some bigger name ones are mint.com, and another one that I use is also something called Personal Capital. Like I said, both of these are completely free and you're welcome to use them if you want. They're really great at just showing you kind of a visual representation of where your money is going, how much you're paying in debt, how much you have left to pay off, and also what your net worth is. When you're writing out all of your debt, make sure that you list the total balance that's owed, make sure that you write down the interest rates, make sure that you write down how long you have left on the debt, and also make sure that you write down your monthly payment. When you do all this, it just kind of helps to give you a complete picture of how much you owe and really where to begin. The second thing we need to do is you have to stop the bleeding. When you're in debt, it's kind of like running a marathon with a bullet wound in your foot. We have to stop the bleeding, otherwise you're really not going to get anywhere. A lot of people like to complicate it. They like to throw complex formulas and calculations and all these different things in it when it comes down to the math. But at its foundation, it's really simple. All you have to know is, are you spending more than you're earning? And that's really it. That is the secret to everything. If you're spending more money than you bring in every month, you can never win. That is a formula for disaster, and there's no way to beat it. You really just have to sit down and figure out where your money is going. You might have massive car payments, or maybe you're spending too much money going out to eat at restaurants every month. Once you've figured out where all your money is going, now we have to control it. And the easiest way to do that is with a budget. It kind of kills me to say that because the word budget just makes me cringe. Like, it has such a negative connotation, and there's kind of a lot of pain associated with it because you have to restrict your spending, and it's really not fun. But when you're trying to get your finances under control, it's absolutely essential, and there's really no way around it. At least for the first 2 to 3 months, while you're trying to track and gauge where everything's going, make sure that you have a budget, make sure that you're watching and making sure that you only spend certain amounts in certain categories, and that'll really just help dictate how we go about paying off our debt. And then also, once you realize where all your money is going, we have to kind of tighten things up. We have to bandage things up so that we stop bleeding. And there's a lot of different ways that you'll be able to do that, but it's individual for each and every person. One way that you might be able to do this is buy food in bulk. You can buy a lot of food at once, freeze it, and just pull it out and use it as you need it. You can also cook meals at home rather than going out to eat, because you'll save so much money by doing so. You can bring coffee from home rather than stopping at Starbucks on your way to work. Or you can check Facebook or other thrift stores before you buy brand new clothes. These are just a couple examples, but like I said, this is individual to you and your budget, your family, and your lifestyle. It's so different for each and every person, but try and think of a couple ways that you can cut back on the ways that you're spending money. The next thing that you have to do is you have to pay more than just the minimum payment on all of your debts. If you pay only the minimum payment, you're going to be paying off debt for years, and we want to get this paid off as fast as possible. It turns out that the average American has more than $9,000 in credit card debt, and the typical interest rate is 15%. I mean, that's insane. Let's say starting today, you quit putting any more charges and purchases on that credit card. If you were to make only the minimum payments for the rest of forever until you pay off that debt, it's gonna take you nearly 12 years. 12 years to pay off that $10,000 in credit card debt. The next thing you have to focus on is tackling one debt at a time. A couple months back, I did a video talking about how I disagree with Dave Ramsey and a lot of his advice. And that still holds pretty true, but this is actually a point where he and I agree. He has something that he calls the debt snowball, and it's actually worked for me, and it's proven to be really effective for a lot of other people as well, and so that's why we kind of see eye to eye on this. Let's assume that you have 4 debts that you need to pay off, and the minimum payment on each of these 4 debts is $100. Each and every month, you're gonna start by paying $100 on each of these 4 debts. But you're gonna pick one of them and you're going to pay an extra $100 on that one. So you're gonna pay $200 total on this debt. You keep paying $200 a month, keep paying until that one is finally paid off. Then you take the money from that and you apply it to the next debt and you keep paying that one. An analogy that I like to use when I'm explaining this concept to somebody is, imagine you've got 4 or 5 different fires that are burning all over the place and you've only got one hose. Would it be better to try and put out all of the fires with a single hose, or just focus on one fire and put that out first before moving on to the next one? Obviously, the best answer is to put out one of the fires first and then move on to the next one. And the best part about this is, as you put out one fire, you get more and more water to help you put out the rest of these other fires. I hope that makes sense, but if it doesn't, let me show you another example. Let's say we've got 3 items. We've got a pen, a stapler, and a GoPro. Now, if I ever hear of you going and trying to finance a stapler, a pen, or a GoPro, I will personally drive over to your house and roundhouse kick you in the face. But for the purpose of this video, let's say our monthly payment on our pen is $1 a month. Our monthly payment on our stapler is $2 a month. That's a really nice stapler. And the monthly payment on our GoPro is $20 a month. These are the minimum payments on all of our items, and each and every month, we're gonna make sure that we at least pay the minimum on all of them. Then once we've cut items out of our budget, we're gonna have a little bit extra. And so we're gonna have an extra $2 a month that we're going to add on the payment for the pen. After 3 to 4 months, I would hope that the pen will be paid off and we can remove this item, and we now have an extra $3 per month that we can pick up and apply to our stapler. Because we just added all of this money onto the monthly payment for the stapler, it's going to get paid off so much quicker, and after only 2 months, we'll be able to pay off this stapler. Now that we've knocked out our first 2 items, we've got $5 extra every single month that we can take and just put all of it onto the monthly payment for the GoPro, and within no time, the GoPro will be paid off completely. Hopefully that kind of helped explain it a little bit easier, but you start with the smallest one, you pay that one off, move on to the next one, pay that one off, and you just keep going. When you pay off the smallest debt first, it's a psychological thing. It gives you that quick win. It's like, yes, like I finally did it. And it gives you the motivation to keep going and moving on to the next one and the next one until all of your debt is paid off. Another option that you have to just accelerate and speed up the process of paying all this debt off is to bring in additional income. Cutting your expenses is a great way to pay off debt, but there's a point where you can only cut your expenses so far. So obviously the other thing that we can do is we can raise our income. And the great thing about this is there's no cap to it. We can just raise our income as much as we can. And as long as our earning potential doesn't cap out, we can keep making more and more money. There's lots of ways that you can bring in additional income. You can start a business or start an extra side hustle. You could get a part-time job, or you could switch jobs altogether. There's this article from a couple years back that was done by Forbes that says if you're not moving jobs every 2 years or so, you could actually be losing a lot of money compared to other people in your field. You can sell stuff on Facebook, you can sell stuff on eBay. I mean, there's tons of ways to make additional money, and by doing this, you can really speed up that process of paying off all your debt. One of the ways that my wife and I were able to finally pay off our debt once and for all was by generating passive income. This is money that we make whether we're working or not. This is money that comes in while I sleep, and every single month we're making over $2,500 in passive income. I did a video a couple months back, and I'll link it right up here, but it talks about the different streams of passive income that we have and how you can do the exact same thing. That's it for this video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys next week.